Hello everyone, my name is Mr. Buller. I'm going to be your instructor this session as we learn about American history. I just wanted to make a short introduction video introducing myself, talking a little bit about why we study history, and then go over the syllabus with you. So like I said, my name is Mr. Buller. I graduated from Emporia State University in 2008 and 2010 with my bachelor and master's degrees in history. I've been teaching for Barton Community College since 2015. I taught for 2 years up at their Leavenworth campus, and ever since after that I've been teaching online. I'm currently married. My wife and I are expecting our first child. My wife's name is Megan. We're kind of fighting, maybe fighting is not the right word, but struggling over a name. We're going to have a boy. I wanted to do something historical. I suggested presidents or Civil War generals or Roman emperors. She shot down all those ideas, so we're kind of at an impasse. The guy that took our maternity pictures, he said that his parents had two names for him. If he was born before 12 o'clock, he was going to be named David, and after 12 o'clock, he was going to be named Thomas. So I tried to strike a bargain with my wife. I said, you give me 1 hour of the day, and if he's born on my hour, we get to call him George Washington Buller. She said no, she wasn't willing to take that chance. So we're kind of stuck. Maybe I'll let you know once the semester kind of goes on if we pick a name. Our baby's due February 6th, so he'll definitely be born during this class. I've also got two cats. I usually get annoyed when people talk about their pets, but we named these Grant and Lee. I was teaching a class on the Civil War. We got two cats. I said, let's name them Grant and Lee. I think my wife thought if I let him name the cats, then he won't do something stupid like that with our kids. But I still want to do something historical. So like I said, we're kind of stuck. I love to read in my spare time. That's pretty much my favorite thing to do. That's my hobby. I usually read American and Roman history. So if you are curious about anything historically related to American or Roman history, I can recommend tons of books for you. Now, I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about why we study history, and I've got a couple quotes, actually 4, I want to share with you. So this first quote, it's a Greek quote. It's found at the Temple of Apollo at Delphi, and the quote is, Gnothi Sauton. Now, what that means is know thyself. And basically what it's saying is, if you know yourself, that's a very important thing to be able to do. Not many people take the time to reflect over their own lives, and reflecting on your own life is also a way to say that we should reflect on the lives of our country, of our grandparents, anything historical. So know thyself, that's a good thing we're going to try to figure out this semester, meaning know the history of the United States. Now, the next quote is a Latin quote. It goes something like this. Nescire autem quid antiquam nautu sis acciderit it est imper esse puerum. Now, what that means is, or that's translated as, to be ignorant of what occurred before you were born is to remain always a child. It comes from Cicero, a 1st century BC Roman statesman, orator, and philosopher. And it just basically says, if you don't know what happened before you, you never really grow up. So, if you don't really know much about the story of your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, if you don't know much about the history of your country, your nation, then, it's like you never really grow up into maturity. You kind of always remain ignorant like a child. Another quote I like, these next two are in English. History must be our deliverer, not only from the undue influence of other times, but from our own. That comes from Lord Acton, a 19th century politician, historian, and writer, an Englishman. And basically what it means is we're kind of trapped by maybe our prejudices, our likes, our dislikes. Things influence us that maybe we don't even know influence us. And if we kind of learn our history, hopefully we can be delivered from those negative things that kind of have a hold on us. And finally, you've probably heard this one before. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. That comes from George Santayana. He was a Spanish-American philosopher, essayist, poet, and novelist. If you've ever played Call of Duty, every time you die, there's a quote that comes up. This is one of them. So those 4 quotes, I think, kind of maybe make you think a little bit about why we should study history. Another thing I'd tell my students is think about if you inherited, $1 million. What would you do with that money? Would you walk away from it and say, I don't want any part of that? Surely you wouldn't do that. If we don't learn our history, it's almost as if we're walking away from kind of our historical and cultural inheritance. We've inherited a lot through our lives because of our history, and it's important we know where those things came from. And a knowledge of history will help make you a better citizen. It'll make you more aware of what's going on around you in the world and in the country. So those are just some reasons I think to study history. Now I kind of want to go over the syllabus with you. So if you don't have this, you can pull it up or you can print it off. I don't care if you have a paper copy or just look at it on the screen. But I've got my instructor information there. You're welcome to email me at any time. I'm going to let you read the college policies, the course as viewed in the total curriculum. I kind of want to jump over to Roman numeral 5, assessment of student learning. Now, here's kind of the course competencies we're gonna look at. There's basically 9 main ones. I'll let you read through those on your own. I don't want to just read to you, but kind of read those over. That is basically what we're going to be trying to learn this semester is how can we become competent in knowing the answers to those things. So those 9 competencies are pretty important. You're probably wondering about textbooks and grades. There's not a required textbook for this course that you have to purchase. There is an online textbook that I've embedded in the course. It's called the American Yop. You'll read from that every week, but there's not a required textbook. So you'll read from that. Instructor expectations. Just engage well in the course. Be kind to each other. Make sure you watch the videos, do the readings, participate in the discussion boards. Don't turn stuff in late. If you have questions, always ask. I'm here to answer anything you have a question about. Basically, the methods of instruction is I'm going to lecture each week. So I've recorded video lectures. I'm going to have primary source readings. I'm going to have YouTube documentaries. So those are the main ways you're going to get information along with the online textbook. The main way you will be graded is we're going to have discussion questions every week. We're going to have worksheets every week. We're going to have quizzes every week. And then we'll have a final project at the end, the last week of the class. I'll tell you more about that final project when it gets closer to the time. But basically, you're going to have to kind of tell me what you learned this semester. You're going to have to answer some kind of big thematic questions about American history. It's not a research project. You're not going to have to go look up a ton of information. It's just going to be kind of tell me back what you learned, where you think America is headed, kind of stuff like that. And like I said, I'll explain more of that once we get there. But if you look on the last page of your syllabus, I have the grading breakdown there. You've got a couple things Barton requires you take, the Universal Orientation Quiz and the Universal College Policies Quiz. There's an introduction post where you just have to introduce yourself. There's a pre-test you have to take the first week. This test is just graded on completion. You don't get graded whether or not you get the right or wrong answers. The last week of the semester, you will take a post-test. That will be graded on right or wrong answers. There's going to be 32 worksheets, basically 2 a week. There's a couple weeks, there's 3 in there. There's going to be 15 quizzes, 30 discussions, like I said, the post-test and the final project. The discussions are going to be open for 10 days at a time. So I'll open the discussion on Monday, and it won't close until the following Wednesday. So it'll go Monday, and then you'll have Wednesday, the middle of the week, and then from that Wednesday, you'll have another week to finish the discussion. That way, it just gives you a little bit more time to read the material, watch the videos, and then comment on the discussion board. Please, on the discussion board, you're always going to have to answer a question and then respond to someone else. When you respond to someone else, don't say like good job or I agree with you and then just leave it at that. You won't get your points if you do that. If you agree with someone, tell us why. If you don't agree with someone, explain why. Make sure you kind of explain yourself. So there's 900 points in the class total. So if you miss 90 points or less, you get an A. If you miss 180 points to 91 points, you get a B, and so on. So that's kind of the course outline, or sorry, the grading in the course. If you have any questions about the syllabus, email me. Like I said, I'll answer your questions. I check my email every day, so I'll get back to you pretty quickly. I'm looking forward to studying American history with you, and I hope you guys learn a lot this semester.